So what you're saying is a very important problem. It's important in the sense we have always used the facial features of human beings to identify who they are. In the future, that may not be possible because it's easy enough to morph whatever it is that you're seeing, and if it may be easy. Already people can do different things, physical things, but if you're seeing a person through a communication medium like video conference, you have no idea that the person on the other side is whoever. It could be anybody, and you can morph them. And that way, you can no longer be sure that what you see is what you get. And that's the way it's going to be. So basically, all those things will happen. And we will be in a different world, namely what is the concept of what is true and what is false will be different in 100 years from now. So when your grandchildren are seeing something or reading, we teach something called critical reading. When you read something, now we take it for granted. When I see a face, that's that person. In the future, children, they will know that could be anybody. That's not the proof that you want. Maybe you don't need a proof. Basically, certain things are not that central to future society. There's no difference between data-driven and knowledge-driven. What data is doing is discovering patterns through deep learning technology, which is the knowledge. And that knowledge now can be used. So the only issue is human beings are not capable of discovering that knowledge. Only machines can discover the knowledge. In the old days, I had to discover how I see or how I hear and write it down. It was not good, not perfect. Now, with a much larger amount of data and computers discovering the knowledge by themselves, that's what learning is. Learning these patterns, the systems are able to do much better. And it's because there's a fundamental limitation of the human brain. It's called bounded rationality. Herb Simon, who was one of the founders of the field of artificial intelligence, that was one of the things he got a Nobel Prize for, saying human beings, when presented with lots of data, get confused. So they throw away a lot of it and just use a little bit to figure out what to do. Whereas a computer can use 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times more data and discover patterns, data-driven patterns, which is knowledge, to solve problems. Ultimately, it's knowledge. But the question is, how did the knowledge come? Is it human-extracted knowledge or computer-discovered knowledge? And that should be the distinction, not data-driven versus knowledge-driven. It is human-extracted knowledge versus computer-extracted. Both of them are discovering knowledge from data. Yes and no. Basically, what has to happen is that what role the human beings will play. Even now, half of the population of the world can't read or they're semi-literate. If you gave them a Chinese newspaper in West China, they may be able to read the characters, but they may not understand the paragraph. They're what we call semi-literate. Half the population of the world cannot read and understand what's going on. And the issue then is, what exactly will the human beings contribute when computers have so much more knowledge? To me, what that means is, even if I'm illiterate, my computer is so smart, it will make sure that I know everything I need to know and whisper in my ear, saying, don't go there, don't go that way. Or don't eat that food, it's poisonous, or something else. All that thing was not possible before. Now even an illiterate person can behave more intelligently even though they're not educated. So you're substituting classical education to computer-based assistant. A classical education, you practiced all the letters of Chinese. It's very difficult, right? And I remember now, you don't write, when you're doing, texting in Chinese, you just do a couple of symbols and a couple of strokes, then it discovers the rest of the pattern and then you touch it, and then you do it. And that's what's going to happen, namely, even people will not have to learn all the stuff we used to have to learn, and writing all the characters, understanding complexities, because the computer will do it for you. So that now what will happen is the concept of an educated person will change. It's no longer all the old stuff, multiplication, addition, reading and writing and symbols and all that, because the computer will help you do it. So now you elevate yourself to things that a computer cannot do.